It was just one moment in the rain. But the blind man I rescued turned out to be the one man who would rewrite my entire destiny. The city was drenched in rain, the kind that seeps into your bones. Elara Hayes clutched her ruined umbrella, sprinting across the slick sidewalk after a long shift at the bookstore. Her coat was soaked, hair plastered to her face, but her mind was elsewhere, until she saw him. A man stood near the street corner, his white cane trembling as he tapped against the pavement. He raised his face to the storm, completely still as if the rain alone could guide him. Without thinking, Elara rushed forward. "Sir? Are you okay?" she shouted over the thunder. He turned slightly, his expression unreadable, a hint of fear in his dark eyes. I can't see," he said quietly. "I lost my driver." Elara's heart thudded. She reached for his arm, gently guiding him under a small awning. His grip on her hand was tentative but firm. "I'm Elara. You're safe now," she whispered. Lucian repeated her name, savoring the sound. Something about her voice anchored him amidst the storm. By the time his driver arrived, the rain had not only soaked their clothes but also entwined their fates. He looked at her one last time, voice low but certain. "Thank you, Elara. I won't forget you." Elara smiled, unaware that these were not empty words. Somewhere in the shadows, Lucian Vale, the blind billionaire, had already begun searching for her voice in a world that had forgotten how to listen. Weeks passed. Lucian couldn't get her out of his mind. The warmth in her voice, the steady kindness, the way she made the rain feel gentle. He tried to move on, hiring companions, assistants, even distant friends to distract him, but nothing worked. Every evening, he found himself replaying her words, her laughter, the slight tremble when she'd grabbed his arm. Meanwhile, Elara had returned to her mundane life, convinced she would never see the man again. But fate had other plans. One morning, while arranging books at the store, a luxury car pulled up outside. A tall, impeccably dressed man stepped out, leaning on a cane. He paused, inhaled sharply, and whispered, "Elara?" Her heart froze. She hadn't recognized him immediately, his blind eyes hidden behind sunglasses, his presence commanding. But that voice she had saved in the rain. "Lucian?" she breathed, hardly daring to speak. His lips curved faintly. "You saved me once, and I never forgot." The universe had conspired to reunite them. But as they stepped closer, unspoken questions hovered. Who was he really? Why was he here? And why did he feel as if he had known her all his life? Lucian Vale lived in a world of precision, wealth, and control. Every moment of his life was scheduled, every interaction calculated. But since that rainy night, a single anomaly haunted him, Elara Hayes. He invited her to his office under the pretense of helping a charity for the blind. Elara hesitated, her intuition warning her, but curiosity won. Stepping into the marble-clad foyer, she felt dwarfed by the opulence. Lucian extended his hand, guiding her like he had in the rain. She felt a shiver. "You didn't forget me," she murmured. "I could never," he replied. His voice was softer than the one she remembered, layered with longing and something deeper, vulnerability. He led her through his private art gallery, every piece more expensive than she could fathom, yet her eyes kept searching for the familiar warmth in him. "You live in a fortress," she observed, teasing to mask her nerves. "I do," he said almost sadly. "But the night I met you, you made the rain feel like home." Elara's pulse quickened. The conversation lingered, but a sudden knock interrupted the intimacy. Lucian's assistant reminded him of meetings, contracts, and obligations, walls that threatened to separate them before they had truly met. As she left, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that she had glimpsed a hidden Lucian, the man behind the billionaire mask. And he, for the first time, realized he didn't want her to leave. Days passed, but their interactions were brief, electric sparks and stolen moments. Lucian invited her to charity galas, business launches, even private dinners, but always careful to keep the world from noticing. Elara noticed small hints of his life, luxury, power, and loneliness. She learned he had been blind for nearly a decade. Most people avoided him, intimidated by his wealth and intensity, but she saw past it. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the skyline, Lucian asked her to walk in the garden. Their hands brushed. "I remember the rain," he whispered. "And you? I've tried to forget, but I can't. You're unforgettable." Elara's heart thudded. She wanted to tell him everything, how she had thought he was untouchable, how she had felt a connection she didn't understand, but she held back. Secrets had power, and hers might destroy everything. For a brief moment, the world seemed to pause, leaving only them, the scent of roses and the soft golden light. And yet, even as the air pulsed with unspoken desire, shadows loomed. Someone had noticed Lucian's interest in Elara, and not all attention was benign. The night was warm, the sky painted in pinks and oranges. Elara had agreed to attend a private dinner at Lucian's penthouse. The city lights below flickered like fireflies as they sat across from each other, a meal untouched between them. "Why am I thinking about that night in the rain?" Lucian finally said, leaning forward, his voice low, intimate. "You saved me, Elara. But somehow, you saved more than just me. You saved a part of myself I'd thought lost." Elara's throat tightened. She looked down, unsure if her own confession would betray her carefully guarded heart. Lucian reached across the table. Their hands touched. Warm. Electric. Trembling. "I don't care about the rules anymore," he whispered. Her pulse raced. Their eyes met, communicating everything words could not. And then, as if drawn by gravity, Lucian tilted his face toward hers. Time slowed. The city faded. Their lips met, a first kiss that was soft, hesitant, yet charged with every emotion they had tried to suppress. It was longing, fear, and hope all in one. When they pulled back, breathless, neither spoke. But the unspoken was clear. Nothing would ever be the same. Elara had tried to enjoy the quiet intimacy of their growing bond, but the secret she carried weighed heavily on her. She wasn't just a stranger who had helped him in the rain. She had a past connected to Lucian's family business, one that could shake the foundation of his empire. One evening, while visiting his penthouse library, a letter accidentally slipped from her bag. Lucian picked it up, curiosity flashing in his blind eyes. "What's this?" he asked. Elara's heart skipped. "It's nothing. Please don't." But curiosity and perhaps destiny wouldn't allow him to let it go. Lucian touched the envelope, sensing its weight and importance. "Elara, this is connected to my company. Why didn't you tell me?" Elara's voice trembled. "I didn't want to ruin what we have. I wanted to be with you, not for your fortune, not for your life. Just for me." Lucian's hands softened around hers. "You don't understand. Secrets can destroy us, but so can fear. I want to know everything. I need the truth." The moment stretched between them. Vulnerability hung like rain in the air, and for the first time, Elara felt safe enough to reveal her past. The revelation brought a storm of its own. Lucian's board of directors, threatened by her hidden connection, began plotting against her. Whispers circulated, enemies lurked in shadowed corners of the company. Elara felt the sting of betrayal, not from Lucian but from the world she had tried to enter. She had hoped love would be enough to shield her, but power had a price. Lucian, unaware of the full scope of danger, was blindsided when his assistants tried to keep Elara away from him. Misunderstandings flared, tension rose, and for the first time, distance settled between them. At night, Lucian sat alone, replaying her laughter, her warmth, her voice. He realized love wasn't about avoiding danger, it was about facing it together. Lucian found her one rainy night, the same rain that had started it all, waiting at a small cafe on the outskirts of the city. Their eyes met, both hesitant, hearts pounding. "Elara," he said, voice low, earnest, "I don't care about the whispers, the conspiracies, or the risks. You saved me once. Now let me save you. Let me protect us." Tears filled her eyes. "I was afraid that love couldn't survive power and lies." He took her hand in his, their fingers entwined. "Then let's rewrite the rules. Together." The storm outside mirrored the storm of emotions inside them. And as lightning struck in the distance, they embraced, two hearts finally unafraid. Lucian and Elara faced every challenge, boardroom schemers, jealous rivals, and society gossip. But nothing could break the bond forged in that first rainy night. Elara's intelligence and courage impressed Lucian, while his unwavering support and vulnerability drew her ever closer. Together they rebuilt his empire, merging trust, passion, and a love that could weather anything. At a gala celebrating their first successful business merger, Lucian whispered, "We've survived storms before. And now, nothing can separate us." Elara smiled, leaning into him. The crowd cheered, but for them the only thing that mattered was the warmth of each other's presence. Years later, Lucian and Elara walked hand in hand through the garden of their estate. Children's laughter echoed in the distance, roses bloomed around them and golden sunlight bathed everything in warmth. He still couldn't see the world, but he saw her with perfect clarity, the smile that had saved him, the heart that had anchored him, and the love that had transformed them both. "Elara," he said softly, "you were always my light in the storm." She rested her head on his shoulder. "And you mine." The past, rainy nights, secrets, betrayals, fears, had shaped them, but love had triumphed. Together they faced the world, unstoppable, unbreakable, and unforgettable. From strangers in a storm to soulmates bound by destiny, their story reminds us that love always finds its way. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.